When you talk about numbers, they continue to go through the roof. The Final Four averaging 15.3 million viewers on CBS, making it the most watched Final Four since 2017. The coverage on Saturday peaking with 20.4 million viewers. You could not ask for two better games, especially the late game, which was amazing. And I don't like to use that word or throw it out there pell-mell, but it was amazing when you think about the way that thing closed out.
If you had that moment of what does 15 million turn into in a 20-point game, like the women's game, quite honestly, that game was over. It's interesting because it was the right two coaches, but it wasn't a game. If you could roll the two games Saturday into one game tonight, you can then make a case that this has a chance to be the greatest Final Four ever. You get a 12-point, 15-point, 20-point win, that probably goes out the window. But four number ones with those two games, if you get a good game, let alone a great game, if this is just a good game, you have the greatest Final Four ever. And if it's a great game, it's hands down. Everybody else is fighting for second.
And you talk about two great games. The first game on Saturday between Florida and Auburn, the most viewed first Final Four matchup again since 2017, averaging 14.6 million, a 27% increase from last year. Then you had Houston and Duke with 16 million and overall 9.9 million. This one was a hit all the way through, and now everybody that covers college basketball, that carries college basketball, is going to ask the same question. How can we take this and make it work during the regular season?
You can't. So I'm going to say that because the regular season is not going to change. Just like women's basketball, if you get a bump from Caitlin Clark and everybody else, that's great. Squeeze every ounce you can out of it. And then there's going to be a point where you go, it's just a rock. We can't get any more out of it. I will say this, the thing that's surprising to me is it's a Southeastern Conference semifinal game, and it's the most watched first game when I would have thought, we do this with other sports. Regionally. I think you're getting hurt. I don't think you have a West Coast. You have two schools that are X amount of miles apart, yet you still did that number nationally. That's sort of the thing that I think was most surprising to me. I thought this might be too regional.
So my bracket is very much still alive, and I know you don't like people talking about your brackets, but I bring it up for a reason. I guess it comes down to, with the station bracket, me versus home team, I kind of feel bad because I did the autofill. I've got Houston beating Auburn in my final. Obviously, Auburn isn't there, but I'm still in the running. I think home team did it the old-fashioned way. Should I acquiesce to home team and just say, look, you did it the old-fashioned way. I just said fill it in. I used AI to fill in my bracket.
Okay. Here's what I would say, and I've used this before. There are some people that pick the numbers for their lottery ticket and they win. There are others who the machine picks the lottery numbers and they win. If you had the machine pick your lottery numbers, are you going, no?
No, I'm not at all.
Okay, well, this is the same thing.
Okay.
It's for a lot less money. I mean, did you submit it with your name?
I did,
Then
yes.
it's your bracket. My point about guys like LeBron and Tiger, whenever I think you're going off the rails, my question is why? You did it the hard way, the hardest way, with expectations on you. You picked the numbers. You figured out how to win. Everybody else sometimes just walks up to the machine at the right time and says, give me 5, and let the machine pick it. I think you're in a position, if your name was on it, if you win, you win.
Okay. I just wanted to ask the voice of reason, Chris Dimino.
Is this for money?
I don't even know. I think it's for money.
I have no idea.
I think we all paid, so I think it's for something.
Well, yeah, I would think it's for money. Where were you ever going to give back money to somebody else? How about you do this? How about you win and give me some money? Let's start knocking off your tab.
That is a very interesting way to look at things.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen.
I'll consider it, Chris. Yeah. That's the best answer I can give you at this point. Florida opens.
It's amazing. You want to give a guy money who's never given you money. You owe me $24,000 and change, and you're not going to take the $80 that you might win and hand it to me.
So we're going to be in Athens tomorrow. I don't know if we have to pay to park in Athens tomorrow, but you know what I'm going to do, right? Because I'm driving you, as always. Dimino, what do you got?
Yeah.
Take care of this, will you?
All right, I'll take care. I'll have cash in pocket.
Florida, 1.5 favorite over Houston. 8:50 tip-off tonight. And Houston, we know what they did. And if you don't, you missed a hell of an ending. Maybe the craziest, most impressive ending in the history of the Final Four as they knock off Duke when they were left dead. They were dead. They weren't even breathing. And they got brought back to life, and they stole the game 70-67. I don't know what Duke was doing at the end of that game. I'm walking a fine line here because I certainly want to give credit to Houston. to end the game on a 9-0 run when it took them 8 minutes and 9 seconds to score their first 9 points of the game. But did Duke, if you had a kid that played AAU, you've seen this. Duke looked like a team that really wasn't a good basketball team, that was getting pressed by the other team who had played together for a number of years, and they had no answers. I don't understand how that happens to a team like Duke.
We had talked about this last week. When you haven't played in a certain situation and that situation comes up, can you figure it out? Can your coach figure it out? He didn't do a great job. Can your players figure it out? They didn't do a great job. And you know what? It was kind of crazy. If you want to say Cooper Flagg missing that shot, well, that'll tell you what he's all about. That's ridiculous. Go look at the upperclassmen on that Duke team who had 4 turnovers in the last couple of minutes, who missed the front ends of one-on-ones. I know who did what in that game. They weren't ready. This was Vegas. This is a mini version. We talked about this.
You spoke it into existence last week.
This is the mini version of what Duke did to Vegas. Larry Johnson has talked about it. Yeah, I had my mind on other things. We just thought we were going to the finals. I'm not telling you Duke thought they were rolling into the finals, but when you're up 14 with minutes, like less than 10 minutes on the clock, your mind starts to wander. Then all of a sudden, what happens? You get funneled. Here comes every wall, the ceiling, and the floor. It's not just walls. It's everything closing in on you. And all of a sudden, they look like they didn't know how to handle any situation.
It's an all-time collapse. And here's Kelvin Sampson, Houston's coach, after the game, praising to a certain extent Duke, but perhaps taking a shot at their conference.
I hear what people say. You know, Duke this, Duke that. Duke's great. John Shire is awesome. But don't sleep on Houston. Don't sleep on Houston. We weren't 34-4 playing in the Toy Poodle League. We were 19-1 in the Big 12. Playing in the Big 12 helped us.
So that's a shot at the ACC, calling the ACC a Toy Poodle League, in case you couldn't make it out.
Well, can I tell you what I think he's saying? I think what he's saying is this, it's like the Pete Rose thing. I don't care. You hit 300 in the Chicken Bleep League. He's talking about, I don't care if the ACC is this or anybody else is that. We won 34 basketball games. You go talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. We won 34 games. And their personality, which people had talked about, came into play the other night. And they had more will. I don't know what any of that stuff really is. I can tell you they were more prepared to play that type of game than Duke was to play in front.
They end the game on an 11-1 run overall, does Houston. Duke never grabs a rebound.
Nope.
After the 3:24 mark left in the game.
That's 10
which
boards.
To me might be the most phenomenal number.
10 boards.
There's a lot of phenomenal numbers to run through as Houston stole this game. To me, that's the one that stands out more so than anything else. And now Kelvin Sampson looking for title number 1. Houston overall looking for title number 1. They've appeared in the most Final Fours, 7, Chris, without a national title.
It's the golfer thing. You're the team that, you know, you're really good, seven Final Fours, but you can't be considered this. Like Cooper Flagg can't be considered to have the greatest freshman year of all time. You can either play your way off of a list or you can create another list. And Houston's got an opportunity to play themselves off of the one that has never won.
And then to me, early in the second half, I thought Auburn was on the verge of blowing out Florida. And they, much like Houston, they flipped the switch and they win 79-73. And it's Walter Clayton Jr. making all kinds of history. 34 points, 5 3-pointers, giving him the first consecutive 30-point game, or games, shall I say, this deep in the tourney since a guy by the name of Larry Bird.
Yeah.
We keep going back to 1979. Then we have to go back to 1981. Let's start with 2003. Walter Clayton Jr. becomes the first player to drop 30-plus points in a national semifinal since Carmelo Anthony did it for Syracuse in 2003. Beyond that, he's the first to log 34-plus points in a Final Four victory since Al Wood of North Carolina in 1981. So all kinds of history being made by Walter Clayton Jr. of Florida.
Here's what's great about the college basketball tournament. You can get names like Larry Bird, and you can get names like Al Wood. You can bring up Glenn Rice, and you can bring up, give me another one where you just go, Ty Zedney. You can just, because the game is, who do I want to compare you to? How far back do I have to go? What's your game, Ty Zedney, UCLA? What's your game where you win it when there was an absolute chance you weren't going to win it, and then you go on and win a title? The game, the tournament is littered with that stuff. I'll tell you this. You know what I noticed? There was more NBA guys talking about Clayton than anybody else I remember NBA guys jumping on, a college guy. It just feels like in college, you're over there and we're over here. And it's NBA guys and former NBA players who all of a sudden we're looking at this kid going, oh, my God. And literally on social media and Twitter attaching their names to, that kid can play.
And thanks to him, Florida rallies again. They escape against Texas Tech. Going back to the game before that, it's UConn. So they know how to play from behind. And here is their coach, Todd Golden, on making it to tonight.
It's pretty incredible, man. We worked pretty hard to get here, and in 3 years, been fortunate to build a great staff that is aligned and that works really hard for each other. And then we've just accumulated a great group of guys, in our roster. It took a little bit to get all these pieces together, but, to a man, they all pull the same direction. There's no unselfishness in our locker room. You see a guy like Walt, he gets asked all the questions and gets all the attention for a great effort like tonight, but there's no animosity there. There's nobody, concerned about that. These guys are just trying to win a championship.
Their attitude seems to be the same of the Florida teams that won back-to-back titles. All of those egos, it didn't matter.
Yeah, check them at the
Who
door.
got the praise? We want to win the title.
But there's also now the pressure's on Clayton to actually have another one of those type games. Because can you win without him doing that? That's going to be the thing tonight. What is Houston going to do? They're going to look to shove him around. They're going to try to make sure that he's not the reason. This is like the 4-at-bat thing. Can't let that guy beat you. Let somebody else beat you. Let's figure out how Houston does it. Can I give you the fact of the month?
Not the fact of the month. The fact of the month.
The fact of the month.
This is serious, folks.
All right. Saturday night, Duke became the only team to have an NCAA tournament game. So remember, NCAA tournament game. Not a semifinals, not Final Four, ever. 2, higher field goal percentage, more free throw attempts, more assists, fewer turnovers, more steals. Then their opponent, and yet still lose. That's 335-0. Now 335-1. One more. Over the last 25 years, 7,859 instances of a Division I team trailing by 5 or more points at halftime and at least 5 times in a single season. The only team to do all of that in 1 year is Houston. Houston. They play with their, give me your best shot. It's sort of rope-a-dope.
Yeah.
It's the equivalent of rope-a-dope. You think you hit me. You think I'm tired. No.
It's like a real life.
I'll see you with 2 minutes left.
Yeah, it's like a real life Rocky Balboa. I'll take the beating, and somehow, some way, I will win when all is said and done.